Hey, welcome to Tech Commute. Really stoked to have you here. This is like kind of our first stream together. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I like to think of myself as I'm hard to define, not because I'm like a special unicorn. It's just like I don't know if I like care to define myself by a lot of these terms.
Okay.
But from like a career perspective, I'm like a design engineer, which means I like do front end, I do design, I sometimes do back end as well. But the way I like to describe it is that I am just somebody who enjoys building products, and I will learn whatever tool that I need to actually build it.
You just like to build.
I just like to make things.
You
I just love to build
just like
things.
to make things.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
that. So let's, for anybody that's familiar with the Tech Commute format, we usually kind of just deep dive the whole journey from there to here and talk about some of the nuance in between. But I don't know much
hmm
about Will King prior to tech. So what was your like coming out of high school and stuff? What were you sort of planning as your future?
I was going to be an industrial designer. So
Okay.
I went to school for industrial design. I was going to like work at like Frog or IDEO in
Hmm.
like San Francisco and just do like legit manufacturing of real product design
Yeah.
for like my whole career. Like that's what I was gonna do. I knew it like in high school and like purposefully like looked at no other schools, only submitted an application to Auburn
Okay.
because that's what I was doing.
So we ended up at Auburn there. Then how did this like cryptic HTML file make you say, "Oh, I want to just change my whole future because
Okay,
of this
so
confusing code"?
it didn't. So that file did not. That file scared me away from tech.
Okay.
Honestly, like
Okay.
from coding, like I didn't
Yeah.
really do too much of it after that, other than just like it's just like the same thing where it's like I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't like this. Like I don't know what's going on here, but I do know I want full control over how my portfolio is created. Like I want what people see. I want full control over that. And I
Hmm.
didn't have that control using some like other portfolio site. Enter like 1 month before I graduate from college and I meet Allie King, or at the time Allie Ingram, and
Okay.
like fall head over heels and was like, I'm marrying this woman. I already know it. And Allie was like, I'm a kindergarten teacher and I want to teach in Montgomery where my family's from. And I was like, that sounds good to me. I don't care. Like I'll follow you wherever you go. So that was the point. Like that was it
Okay.
where I was like, okay, are there any cool industrial design jobs in Alabama, in Montgomery, Alabama? The answer is like absolutely not. Like all the cool jobs are in like Toronto, New York, San
Sure.
Francisco. And like that's where like the good jobs are. And I was like, that's never gonna happen now. Like that path is now cut off. I need to figure something else out. And that is when I was like when I designed my website, that was fun. Maybe I can
Hmm.
get into web design. So through like a job fair, like I had done a project in designing somebody's app in college. Like I
Okay.
designed like two apps. Like I designed a game and I designed like a course, like a book, like a university book selling platform
Okay.
for somebody in college. And I had that in my portfolio that I showed to somebody, and they were like they saw that and we built a relationship, and that's how we like I did like my first web design projects, but
Okay.
I didn't do like the development for it. I just did design. So like that's how I kind of got into this remote type stuff, was like starting to take on web design projects.
Interesting. So that
Yep.
was, I mean, again, pretty late. What was the process for you for like then learning how to code and figure all this
Okay.
stuff out?
This is going to be just a recurring thing. I started designing stuff and I started
Hmm.
like sending it off to people and like with like other developers, and none of them got it right. None of them got the detail. Like they had the details wrong. Like it looked kind of good, but everything that mattered was wrong. And so it was just like, I need to make this the way it's supposed to be. Like once again, like I need to have full control over like how this gets created. And like maybe I need to have some therapy on like having full control
Yeah,
over
we'll
this.
we'll we'll dip our toe in that in a minute.
But yeah, so it's just like, well, I guess I'll just learn how to do it myself so it's done right. And I used a platform called Skill Crush at the time.
Hmm.
It was like actually like a for women first coding platform, which is like why I didn't use them for the longest time.
Hmm.
But I just remember being like, there's the design of their website's so good. Their
Okay.
courses look better than any of the other things that I've seen. And so like at the bottom, I just remember one time scrolling through one of the landing pages, and at the bottom it was like, yes, we're focused on women, but like if you're a dude, we still want you to. Like it was like this like last line was like, if you're a dude,
Sure.
it's fine, you can come into.
Yeah.
So like I did the course. That's how I like learned HTML and CSS, was through that platform. And then this was like my first opportunity to hop from, at the time I was working in Birmingham, Alabama at this
Hmm.
like doing 3D modeling at this bucket truck company or whatever. Um, and I finished up and I saw that they were posting a job role for like an assistant web design teacher.
Okay.
And I was
Okay.
like, well, I know like that I can do. Like I can do that. So I was like, well, let me like I could do this and then I could do freelancing. And if I mix both of those, that's how I can get into remote work and be able to move wherever Allie like by this point me and Allie were like engaged. And I was like, I need to like not have to make her move to Birmingham because this is where my
Yeah.
job is because we want to be in Montgomery. So I was like, trying to get a remote job. And I went for the interview and I hopped on the call and they were like, "Hey, Will, good, nice to meet you." And I was like, "Yeah, I really enjoyed the course that I took." And they're like, "Wait, you took one of our courses?" I was like, "Yeah, I took like the coding course." They're like, "Wait, are you that Will King?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I don't know, like who? What do you mean that Will King?" But like took like an intro HTML and CSS course.
Yeah.
But I'm like a college educated designer, I guess, at the time, which is like nothing special now looking back, but back then is like everyone's just learning HTML and CSS because they wanted to be a coder, not because they were a designer who wants to be a coder. So
Hmm.
like I like overdid every single project to be like really well designed. Like I was just like, well, this is what I don't know what I'm doing with the HTML stuff, but
Yeah.
like I do know how to design. So like I like made them all really nice. And they're like, yeah, you're overqualified for this like assistant position. Like, do you want to just be our web design teacher? And I was like, sure, sounds great. So like
Okay.
got in the door there. That was like a part-time job. I did a bunch of freelancing at the time and I did that for about 6 months. And then Skill Crush hired me on as like a front end developer because they were like, you took the HTML course. Like, do you want to do coding too? And I was like, yes. So
Yeah.
I got a full-time job eventually working remote at that company on like the software team. And that was like kind of how I got my foot in the door there.
Because you crushed it.
It's so funny. Like I look back at those designs now and I'm just like, no, I didn't. I absolutely didn't crush it. But it's like nobody else was trying that hard. And that's why I crushed it was because like
Wow. Yeah.
I like tried harder than anyone, not on purpose. Like I didn't know what everybody else was doing, but like
Yeah.
that's why I stood out was because I was different than everyone else who was trying to do the same course.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, as Aaron Francis says, be known for something, right?
Yeah.
You kind of touched on it as far as like really needing to have control over the
Hmm.
design or the look or stuff.
Right,
So
right.
now transitioning from doing freelance and stuff and working on a team, how did you find that transition to like having to work with others in an environment where maybe you can't have that?
It was better because I started working with people who are like actually very talented at their
Okay.
role. So like the barrier to excellence that person hiring me had was not that high. Like it's just a marketing site. But like I've always had just like an extremely high bar on like the quality of stuff that I want to be making.
Where did that all kind of culminate from?
I don't know. Like I think it's just the way I was raised. You know, like growing up, it was just like if you're gonna do something, do it right. And like if you're going to put effort into something and put your stamp on it, like your name to say that like this is something you did, you basically need to have like it either needs to be like extremely excellent or it needs to be something where you're like, hey, we're just trying to figure this out together. You know, like
Mm,
those are like the two paths where it's like, hey, I did this thing or I'm doing this thing for somebody else. Like somebody's paying me to do this thing. So I'm going to do the absolute best job that I can do at
mm,
it. Or it's like something else where it's like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I'm going to be upfront that I don't know what I'm doing or we're going to figure this out together. And I'm still going to try like my
yeah.
absolute best, even if at the time my best is like still not good because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like, it's just the way I was raised. Like you always do your best every time,
Sure.
no matter what.
How has that mindset sort of affected your work ethic? Because I think there can be a plus
Oh,
side and a minus
not
side to that.
oh, let me tell you, there is a minus side to it. The plus is that like I generally speaking do really well career wise, but I also have a really hard time not being someone who does really well. And it affects my family and myself at home a lot.
It's definitely hard because I think we put, especially for men, I think we put a lot of like unsolicited pressure on ourselves to
Oh,
to do some of
completely.
these things.
Yeah, 100%. Just to answer Roxy's question real
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
the answer is yes and no. I do burn out quite a bit, but not from like a like my day job perspective. I don't know what it is about it, but like I'm always able to like show up and do my job. However, what does happen is that like anything extra, like literally any ounce of effort that would be required of me outside of my job, just get like that motivation just goes completely away. And it used to be that like I've learned that I just cycle like this. Even if I don't do a lot, there are
Mhm.
just times out of the year where I'm just like, I have zero motivation to do
Yeah.
anything other than show up, clock in, clock out.
Well, here
And so like
back to that. How do you time box that? Because obviously your family is a priority to you. Like we've talked about this in the
correct.
past. So
Yep.
how do you manage that?
The way that I kind of think about it is it's just like there are periods of time where I just like push super hard on a lot of stuff. And it's usually by like choosing things that require deadlines. And then up until recently, like most of my jobs have been to where like I'm allowed to like move at a pace to where I can get ahead on the work that is expected of me from my day job. And it's not like a, oh, I got ahead and now there's more stuff to be doing. It's like no, like I got ahead of like what we need done and there's nothing else to be doing. And so like that's kind of like the way I would balance it was just like I would do everything that I could do, and then
Hmm.
I would still have time during my day to like focus and do other things and other projects. And I would squeeze like I think that's probably a lot of reason why I like burnout as well, because like I
Yeah.
squeeze everything into from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock every day. But I try not to do that too often. But yeah, the way that I burn out is that it's just like okay, stop doing anything extra. And I used to try and like push through it, but what I realize is that if you're starting to feel that burnout or that lack of motivation, if you just shut everything down, like literally just shut it all down and like give yourself grace to relax and not do everything everywhere all at once, if you give yourself that grace to just like relax, you'll be surprised how quickly like that spark inside of you, especially like if you're a creative person,
Yeah.
like that creative spark just wants to exist.
How do you sort of satisfy that creative urge? I feel like you, as a person that does work in tech and sees all these things and experiences the
Mm-hmm.
shiny object syndrome, like how do you how do you satisfy that craving?
I usually satisfy that craving through learning something new. So, like, I just like to try to learn new techniques, new tools, whatever pops into my head, if I can make
The
it a reality, an operational process.
No, that makes sense. Isra mentioned here, you spend so much time at work. If it's not challenging me or allowing me to be creative, I rarely have the energy to find it elsewhere. As a fellow creative, a lot of what you were saying resonated with me after I left film and took a
Hmm.
job that wasn't creative. And again, I was a cog and not creating the cogs. It killed me. It very much was like the worst feeling ever. I think when
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
that, like that piece of you stifled, it's awful. But as you also pointed out, like you do things for your family, but at what cost? How do you strike that?
I think I've just been very lucky, to be honest. Once I like realized, hey, I need to work remote, I got the right career path
Mm.
very early on. Before we got married, I had already gotten into remote work. Before we
Oh,
had
that's great.
kids, I was already working remote. And like growing up, my dad was a software consultant and he was out of town a lot. Like
Okay.
he would have to go out of town every Sunday. He'd come back every Thursday because he'd be flying out to some company to like help them get up to speed on whatever software the accounting company that he worked for had. And so like that was like a huge influence when me and Allie, like when we were thinking about starting a family and stuff, I was like, I don't want to be out of town. I don't want to be not involved in my kids' lives. Like I don't want to be
Mm.
absent and only there part of the time. So it's like from the jump, remote work's what I want to do. I don't want to travel a lot either. Like I would avoid being gone a bunch too.
Ugh, that's crazy. What's one like non-negotiable you have as a parent for your kids?
The one hard non-negotiable is kindness. We always say like kings are kind is like our family motto kind of thing, where it's like no matter what, no matter how somebody treats you, no matter how people are treating other people, they can always rely on us to be somebody who is kind, because kindness is not easy. You have full control over how kind you are to somebody else.
Dang, I like that. Talk to us a little bit because you did mention the conferences. What was kind of the thought process going into that? Because not everybody needs to be a conference speaker. Some people
True,
don't
true,
choose
true.
to be conference speakers. So walk me through that.
So I have some articles that I've written on my website that I call like it's a terrible name, but I call it Guide to Effective Networking for Developers,
That is
or
terrible,
the
but
Developer's Guide to Effective Networking, something like that. It's terrible. It's awful. But I was just like, I'm just going to write these because I was thinking about them. But like the reality is that networking is like finding a job as a developer or as a designer, like anybody in this industry is like simple. That's the way to phrase it. It's not complicated to find a job, but it is hard. It requires effort. It requires you putting in a bunch of work to do it. You have to get out and you have to talk to people. You have to meet people. People have to know who you are. Now you could do that online where there's a million voices and there's like a million people vying for attention. But like a good hack for doing that is instead just trying to convince one person that you're worth giving a shot to speak at a conference. So like part of it is like a networking thing. It was like, hey, like I want to expand the number of people who know the type of work that I do so that like I have more opportunities professionally in the future. And I think speaking at conferences is a really good way of like solidifying that for myself. So that was part of it. And this part, like, I don't want to just go to things to be an attendee because that feels selfish. This is not like me trying to be cocky or anything, but it's like, there's not much that I need to go to a conference to learn about because like I can just learn it on the internet.
Sure.
You know, like, so I can't say, hey, I need to go to this because it will make me better at my job. That's not really a good reason. Like I knew that internally. It's good for me career-wise and for our family. And also I get to like scratch the thing that I wanted, which was like, I want to spend time in person with people. And that worked out last year too well, but I got to hang out with you in like React Miami and in Denver at LaraCon.
I know, twice.
Which was awesome. And so it's like next year I'm going to do the same thing. I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing people in person again.
Definitely. Man, you really struck a chord with me when you were just talking about that. Like conferences are where we go for social. Yeah. And that's hard to frame for people that don't work in tech because it is work at the end of the day. It's exhausting, but this is literally the only time I get to socialize. It's bizarre, but how else are we supposed to do it? All right. Well, last question, Will, and then I'm going to let you go. And thank you so much.
I gotta go pick up a 2-year-old.
See, you exactly. Back to the family stuff. What does success look like to you?
Success looks like getting to spend as much time with my family. And also, I heard that.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Spend time with my family and also like spend time on these like creative endeavors with like, I always say like, I want to build dope things with dope friends.
Yeah.
And also spend time with my family. Like that's it.
Yeah. No, I am the same way. It was great seeing you, Will. We definitely have to do a part 2.
We'll come around for part 2. Absolutely. Yeah. Would love to.
Yeah, we have to do a part 2. All right. Well, thank you everybody in the chat. And remember, It's nice to be important. It's more important to be nice. We will see you guys later.
There we go. We love that.
You like that one? I thought
I do love that.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, see ya.